Okay, so I'm sitting here at the Future of Web Design waiting to record a load of interviews, but just before I do, I want to tell you a little story. Last night I was out at the speakers dinner at Future Web Apps, and there were a load of different people there, not just speakers. And I got chatting with one guy, and I had a very interesting conversation with him, but he had quite a serious speech impediment, and it made it quite hard to talk to him. And as the evening went on, I actually got really frustrated trying to understand and get in my head what he was saying, and it got worse and worse and worse. And I went away afterwards, and I was thinking about this, and I had an idea. So I dropped him an email, and I said, "Look, you know, obviously you know that you've got a speech impediment, and that must be very problematic for you. And to be honest, you don't come across very well. You come across as quite unprofessional and slightly dubious. So what I suggest that you do is you get a friend that can speak very well, and that you tell all of your ideas to him, and he comes around with you, and you tell all your ideas to him, and then basically he will translate for you and speak on your behalf." No, I didn't really say that. None of that happened. I actually just made all of that up. But it's to make a point about something that makes me horribly, horribly annoyed. And you probably were horrified at that story. That would be a horrendous thing to do, wouldn't it? To draw attention to someone's speech impediment and say in some way that they were a second-class person and that they didn't have a right to speak and that they had to speak through someone else and get someone else to approve everything they said. The reality is, in a situation like that, you put up with it. You accept that they've got a speech impediment, and you try and listen through that and hear the underlying message of what it is that they want to communicate. That fictional guy could be very intelligent, could have a lot of really good stuff to say. So you put up with the speech impediment. So why is it that every couple of weeks I receive an email going, "Your grammar and spelling is appalling on your website. You should be ashamed of yourself. You need to get someone to check everything that you do before it goes out"? Really annoys me, really makes me angry, because the reality is I have got an impediment. I've got a writing impediment. I can't see spelling and grammar problems. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just the way that I am, and it's caused a problem my entire life. It caused a problem at school, and it's caused a problem ever since. But I like to think of myself as an intelligent guy. I know what I'm talking about. I'm an expert in my field, for want of a better word, even though I said that people shouldn't call themselves experts. So why does my opinion matter less just because I can't spell or because my grammar's appalling? People treat you like you're a second-class citizen if you can't spell and you can't write well. But I argue that actually that's who I am. That's the way I am. And I'm not lazy about it. I do try hard. I do try and pick up these things, but I don't see them. And people say, "Well, you just got to spell check your work." Yeah, but I spell a word entirely wrong. I remember I've just written an article recently where I meant to write persuade and I wrote pursue. I can't help it. I can't see it. And people write to me and say, "Well, you need to get somebody to check your work." But if I was to do that every time that I said something or I posted something online, then it would completely break the flow of things. I produce so much content and I talk so much and I write so much, that if I wanted to respond to something, say a news story or something like that, it could take 3 or 4 days, by which point the moment's passed. Now, except that if you're doing a professional website, then yeah, you do need to check and double check and triple check stuff like that. But on a personal blog, it shouldn't matter. And to be quite frank, if someone can't deal with the fact that my grammar and spelling is bad, if they think it's unprofessional, if they won't work with me because of it, then I'll tell you something, I don't care. I don't care that they won't work with them, and I don't want to work with them. Because if that's the kind of thing that they judge somebody on, I've got no time for them. And I appreciate that a lot of the people that write to me are actually doing it out of a good heart. They're trying to be helpful. But actually, they're not. They're causing problems for me, because I take it quite personally, and it's something that I'm very aware of, and I find it quite hurtful when people criticise me in that way, because I do try. It's this implication that I don't try that really upsets me. Now, I know that this is a real rant, and I'm not having a go at anybody in particular, but I do think there is an underlying point here. And I've got ultimate respect for Marcus and Chris that I work with, and they're a real stickler for that kind of thing. And actually, Marcus and Chris can't read my blog. It pains them so much. But they've had the intelligence to realise that it's better that I'm out there talking. It's better that I'm out there sharing my ideas. And they don't want to stifle that in me. And they nurture me and they encourage me and they say that I've got something good to contribute, even though I've got this problem with my spelling and grammar. So I'm just encouraging you to look beyond the superficial. You know, whether it's somebody with a speech impediment, whether it's somebody that can't spell or write properly, whether it's someone that's dyslexic, whatever it is, you've got to look beyond the superficial and you've got to look at the message that they're trying to communicate. It's what they say that matters, not the way that they say it. So anyway, that's my little rant for this morning. Hopefully you appreciate it.